Our speaker for this afternoon is Dr. Jane Kangetha Kimani. She's a motivation speaker, relationship coach, educator, and entrepreneur. I've just had the pleasure of speaking to her just for a few minutes before I start this session. I think she's a very, very accomplished lady, someone that we would all love to meet and interact with. And we have her with us this afternoon. Her education qualifications, she has a bachelor's in education, master's and PhD in leadership and counseling psychology. Her bias is in developing character of leaders, specializing in relationships across the board. She also has a master's and a PhD in theology. She generally has weekly shows that handle relationships at various levels, at different levels in various media houses. She offers training for companies, organizations, and team building with a fully trained team. Her specialization is training for leadership, which is, I think, very relevant to a lot of us here in the roles that we work in. And she offers counseling services at all levels. In particular, relationship counseling is her, as a relationship coach, it's her area of focus. Above all, she has a vision of seeing leaders end well and people maximize their potential. I welcome Dr. Jane Kangetha Kimani to the podium. Thank you.
I'm privileged to be here. I think the last time I had a meeting was in Mombasa for the ladies. And you know, when I was told to come and talk, I told myself, goodness, what am I going to condense and say within an hour? Because, well, time and age also gives you a lot. And I think also with age, a lot of acquisition of knowledge and understanding. So I thought I will just pick what I was told to speak about. Number one, I was told to talk about business pitching. How do we pitch for business? What is business pitching? Because I know we've got as salespeople, you can have a very wonderful brand, but if your sales reps do not know how to pitch your business idea, you'll be saying we've got a brand, but the brand has not been selling. We've got a powerful name, but it has reached a point of stagnation. Why? Because with time and with a lot of training of staff, I realized most people come from the university. They tell you, I did marketing, and they're told, go ahead, this is your office, market for us this brand. But today I just want to help us, so that by the time we leave this place, we can understand how is my marketing team going to operate for me. Number one, I say, let them marry the vision of the organization. Let them marry the vision. You can never deliver what you have not conceived. You've got first to conceive it, then you deliver it, and when you deliver it, it will have a result. You cannot be able to move forward with a team that do not understand the vision, the core vision. And I believe that's one very important area as a leader. You've got to call them once in a while and tell them, let's define the vision. Where are you? What are the goals? So that when somebody goes to pitch for business or for, for an investor, it's already flowing in them. Nothing is more beautiful than when a person who is pitching for business has got the content at the tip of the fingers. So I want to say, number one, ensure these people have married the vision. Number two, look for people who are enthusiastic. Get people who are enthusiastic. Don't look for people who are applying for a different job every week because they don't believe in your brand. If somebody is constantly asking for an off to go for an interview, they cannot pitch for you. They don't believe in you. Their mind has already moved ahead. And I constantly say, the best marketers are not necessarily them that had an A, but they are those who have got enthusiasm. If somebody is enthusiastic and they believe in your brand, they can pitch for you. And I want to get back and ask, what is pitching? Pitching, if I can try to elaborate or explain it, I know I'm doing it to people who know better. It is when a group of entrepreneurs or an entrepreneur decide to come together and look for an investor by trying to coerce the investor to invest with them. That is my layman explanation. I try to define all of them together and marry them to one. It is a group of investors, and I talk this to people who are working. Why? Because there's a part in your life, and I keep reminding people that you'll hit the clock and you'll be told retire age has come. And I said this, what happens when you're told there's a package, you're about to go? And I call it the afterglow. What do you do when that time comes and your entire village respected you for the job and suddenly there is nothing that you're waking up to do? You need to have pitched early for your next level. You need to start thinking, where else does my vision take me? Yes, there's a vision for the corporation that has employed you. But even as an individual, have you begun to pitch? Can you say that after I leave employment, I'm going to take care of this and that? I'll start a school. Where are the finances? So what does that mean? Either you go and look for an entrepreneur, you look for an investor as an individual or on behalf of the organization. There are two levels of pitching. The first one is elevator. In elevator pitching, elevator pitching is a term that is given just to, the 60 seconds you climb in an elevator. And they give an example. Perhaps you've wanted to deal with oil, and you have just met an oil guru in the elevator. And they've asked you, what do you do? Very important question. Are you ready for that moment? Are you ready for that question? What do you do? And that is why I say, marry your vision. Have it at the end of your fingertips. So that within those 60 seconds in the elevator, you're able to communicate and create an interest. The elevator pitching is not to close a deal. Nobody needs somebody who is going nowhere. Ati nikujaribu tu hii biashara ya mjengo. Are we together? Nobody wants to kujaribu with you. Who wants to kujaribu? Whatever you are doing, however big, however small, talk with confidence like this is the only thing that happens on earth. If you come from far, there's a time of selling shoes in Gikomba. Not the big bales, the small ones. You know how you go and buy one kangunia per day? And oftentimes you pray that you don't get korota. Korota are those shoes for pole dancers, You know, if you get the pole dancer shoes, umechomeka, that was a look we used to use. And let me tell you something, you guys know what you do. I would afford one kangunia per day or one in 2 days, depending on the speed. But I will tell you, I'm a marketer in Gikomba. What do you do with ladies' shoes? Until you wonder, what? Then we moved from that level with my husband. We began to sell ties. I would hawk ties, and we would look for ties. So I told him, you get ties with a brand name. So of course I knew a bit of the brand names. And so we'd go to Gikomba, and I would walk into an office. And I would tell somebody, you know what? This is a shirt, this is a tie from the thrift shop. What is thrift shop? It's another for Mutuba, Openea Market. Do you get what I'm saying? This is a tie from the thrift shop. How much are you selling it? It's a brand label, and I'll mention the brand. And after mentioning the brand, I give you the price. You know what? Men will take it emotionally, then they'll use logic later. It is logic to say, okay, it was a brand. But you see the conviction that came with that word. I was not smelling like I just come from Omena. No. I talk about the presenter. Are we together? So you've got to start dreaming, and you've got to dream big. You can never pitch a business, you can never be able to get an investor if inside of you don't see the bigness of your dream. You've got to believe in your dream. Don't wait for anybody else to tell you that it's going to work. You yourself, you know it's going to work. Actually, if you tell me it's going to work, thank you. But even if you tell me it's not going to work, you'll be the reason and cause it to work. Do you get what I'm saying? You've got to talk with a kind of confidence that makes somebody believe in your small dream and want to invest in that small dream. Usiseme tu tunang'ang'ana, lakini that's why we want help. You know, if you can invest some more, I went through so much loss, but this time I'm sharper, we can raise high. Who is going to take a risk with you? You get my point? Believe in your brand. We sold Omena, and I will do it with my shoulders high. In Kayole, Gorofa number 7. Hallelujah. So what am I saying? Anything can grow if you believe in your dream. And that is what you need to do if you've got marketers. Get them to marry your vision. Let them believe it. Let them walk it. Let them talk it. And when they talk, the deep calls to the deep. There'll be a conviction because you believe. Are we together? So when it gets to pitching, you've already done an elevator pitch. You have been given this appointment. You have been told, come, we want to hear what you've got to offer us. How do you prepare? Or how should they prepare? This is what we do with a lot of people we train in organizations, because we realize people are not ready. And you know what? Preparation is a mother to success. If you're not prepared, you're already prepared to fail. It does not matter how beautiful your brand may be. It does not matter how impressive it may sound. But if it comes to a time that you need to give what you're supposed to give and you're not ready, the investors don't have time for you. They don't. For a long time I was watching The Shark when I was doing my PhD some years back, and many others. And you'd realize everybody coming there had the content. If you don't have the content and you have a good product, you lose it. So what is the first thing you need to do? You do an executive summary. Executive summary. Well, now you've been given an appointment. There is the board. Prepare an executive summary. And please don't use big words. We can catapult you megaphocially. If you join up with us, you're going to lose it. Who wants to start elaborating with a dictionary? That now we look for a dictionary to get what you're saying. You will put them off. Make a summary. We call it grandmother task. Why do we call it grandmother task? Because it should be as easy as any grandmother can read and understand. It should be what you call grandmother task. Don't tell us too much that is too difficult. We want something expressed. There are people who today are funding businesses, but they're not as learned as you are. So don't put in jargons. Don't put in jargons from your career. Put it as easy as possible. Number 2, in that note, what do you include? Include the management team and their qualifications. People do not want to invest in a one-woman, one-man party. You know, it is me and I and myself. And when you invest with me, my goodness, no. They want a well-rounded management team. And in the well-rounded management team, it would rather include a lawyer. Let it be so well-rounded that this person can so well trust what you're doing. Let it also include an accountant. Let it not be just you. Yes, you may be two directors, but let the management team reflect success. Number 3, you should do a thorough analysis of your product or the service industry. Just break it down as an analysis. This is what I'm selling. I'm opening a restaurant, for example. That's an example, that's a service industry. And why do I need you? You explain the location. I think it is good enough for business. Analyze it. It has a capacity of this number of people. And you can still expand to this number of people. Now, the next, in the same document, the next question you should be answering: what problem are you solving? What problem are you solving? Because you may tell me you want to do this, but don't forget that they're already aware that there's somebody else doing the same. Everybody wants to invest in solutions. Everybody wants to invest in solutions. Tell them how to keep chicken. It is not a big solution, actually. Why? Because you are not trying short of eggs. If there was a shortage of eggs, or the hotels really demanded a lot of chicken, then you can put that down. Say, I'm being a solution to this organization. I want to start a PR or a PR organization. Why? Because this organization is having a weakness in that area. So make it very clear what you intend, the problem you intend to solve. Now, with the same, the other question they'll be asking is, how are they managing currently? Yes, you've come as their God. You've come to rescue their problem. But the question is the company closed? No. Is what you're doing just the first thing you ever did that came to the world? It is not the first one. So the question is, how are they managing? Meaning what? You've got to have thorough knowledge. Thorough knowledge of your competitors, the strength of your competitors, and the added advantage they have over you. Because you'll never convince an investor that I'm just here because, there's nobody else doing this. Somebody is doing it. There is nothing new under the sun. So whatever you tell us you want to do, it is not new. Perhaps it has been your body fine. So you need to highlight that very well and tell them, because of this, I want to do A, B, C, D. And it has to be convincing. Because those are the things they're looking for when you're pitching for this business. Remember, they're not even saying they want to fund you. They're looking at these factors to know, are you qualified for a funding? The other one, what are your financial projections? And be very realistic. People end up in trouble. Because they say, with this matatu, I can be bringing in 6,000 because that's what they had per day. They actually didn't know that there is fueling, there is this, there is the other. And when he doesn't need that kind of money, there is no conflict. And we got tussles. So know about the financial projections. And if it is already an existing brand, what is the financial status? What is the current financial status? Because you've got to include that. Let us know currently, this is what you're doing, this is how much is there. Nobody wants to invest to nothing. Nobody wants to invest to nothingness. Actually, they want to add to what you have. At least let them know, I've got 10,000 shillings, but I'm looking for another 30,000 shillings to do and to accomplish A, B, C, D. And as well, line up very well what the added money is supposed to do. Together with that, there should be an exit plan. Because you don't expect your investor there forever. You should write down very clearly what is the exit plan. The exit plan could be perhaps after 5 years, 10 years, 8 years, and will they have made their profit? Perhaps it's 30%. So when you're going to do a pitch, You've got to have that very clear. When you send your marketing or your whatever team you send to go and pitch for you, these are details that they need to have. When they are convincing enough, I can give you an assurance. Anybody looking for somewhere to invest, then they have found somebody to invest in. And I want to add this. Why do they go as a team? They go as a team because of different strengths. A question may be asked on marketing, but you've got a leader who will teach on marketing. Another question might be asked on statistics. You've got a statistics manager. If you're the one who is leading the team, don't assume that you've got every answer. Allow the other people to talk. And many times, people are posed and you're corrected or you're asked questions. If you don't have the answer, don't give an answer you don't know. Tell them, I'll be back to you. Consult with the team, then give them the answer. And I want to remind you, this usually does not go beyond 15 to 20 minutes. So all this should be prepared before. So that the 20-15 minutes you have to make it, you actually make it. And again, I repeat this. People do not fail because they don't have a good brand. There are very, very many good brands that today are still nowhere in the market simply because they've never gotten a right person to pitch for them. When a person pitches for them right, and they are confident enough of their brand, yes, the first investor may say no and give reasons. I want to say that's not a reason to give up. That is not a reason to give up. As I said earlier, believe in your dreams. When you're opening those gunias, there are times you open the gunia and the first thing that's looking at you is a shoe that you know for sure I cannot sell it to a human being. The truth. And you're looking at the shoes, you're praying that there were just some people that pass along the road. When we started selling omena, you know, I sold omena. It was not big wholesale business, no. It was a small business. Wanted to keep going. I don't know if anybody has gone through phases in life we have. And as we were selling the omena, the first gunia we got, Beggar had already pitched and had gotten 21,000 because we had no other money because of other reasons. And the 21,000 was supposed to refund with some profit. But the first gunia we got had not done enough research on transport. So we brought it in an open, it was actually placed on top of the bus. The gunias were 21. I'll not forget. And along the way, I don't know where from Kisumu, it was drizzling. I did not know that omenas are not supposed to be wet. And if they are wet, they're supposed to be dried. Who had taught me that? That's why today I'm a sharper person. I do analysis of the market and transporting from the source to the market. And so they were rained on, and when they came, I didn't was supposed to dry them. Because I had omena makes money. And to make mistakes. And so here was omena 21 gunias, and the rest of the money I had was 600 shillings between my husband and I and our two small children. Then they were much smaller. And when we got the omena, I put them in a certain store. I will not forget. And they stayed there for 3-4 days. See, they've been rained on. And suddenly one day there were houseflies coming from everywhere. And I remember going to a salon next door because that day I took them outside to air them, and the hairdresser just across the road said, "Hapa pakona mtu anahitajika asuiwe." Nikauliza why? Houseflies zinatoka kutoka Soweto heading towards Komarok. The place is stinking, you know, omena. You know what I'm talking about? Those things were stinking. You could hardly pretend and say, somebody has brought omena. That's what is spending. Oh, of course I knew what was written. You know what I'm saying? But this was all the investments I had. But I want to talk to you about determination. I believed in the dream. I went and I got lemon. And I decided to wash them. And you're talking of 21 gunias, the store was very big. I decided to wash them with lemon. And my husband and I washed the omenas with lemon, never had of before. Because I knew lemon will bleach. You know, they turn brown. And also the ones that sell are supposed to look silver. And they came when they were silver, I agree. But now on the 5th day, they were brown, some were yellow. So I thought I'll bleach them with lemon. So we bought a lot of lemons. And don't forget that it was still from the little money that was remaining. And we decided to soak them in lemons. I think the smell reduced, but I don't know about the color. My eyes were flattering me, but I knew true well, nothing has changed. And I still believed in my dream. And my husband told me, why don't you give this to cows? I said, no. This is big business. Finally, one day, I was working somewhere and I met a friend who is quite wealthy. And you know, to me those days so she asked me, what are you doing? I said, I sell omena. Don't forget the omena was in the house, in the store. I sell omena. She said, oh really, where from? I said, from Kisumu. Which type? I said, any type you want? We did with any. You just name it. We have it. And she told me, yes. There's a friend of mine who wanted to start a business. I'm supporting her and I've got some money. I said, So I told her, yeah, we can do business, can't we? She told me, so do you have the omena ready? I said, but of course. We can even deliver. And there and then, I was given about 62,000. I told my heart, goodness me. Now here is the money. But do they know the omena? Because again, my integrity did not allow me to sell what cannot be eaten. So the lady tells me, you know what? It's for animal feed. I said, for animal feed. Glory to God. The animal will live and be healthy. It has got vitamin C from lemons. You know, I say that there is added value, added benefit, vitamin C. You know, from lemons. And you know, from the sun, whatever the sun provides, it has. And she came and carried the omena, and therein began our breakthrough of omena. Do you get what I'm saying? It was just a sustaining business. It was not taking us for too long. We were between one wilderness and the other. But I want to tell you, at that point, we could not put our papers to the shopkeeper and tell him, give us flour. They don't teach degrees. They need money. I think that time we were just first degree holders, both of us. But now the omena business sustained us. And with time, I became sharper. But if I didn't believe in my product, but I told them, I would still be 1 year up to now. I learned better and we did our omena. And when the season came, that the omena had to close, because there's a season where you don't transport omena. There was some little capital that we started with a school that was closing. Somebody came and said, please, I need only 50,000 just to pay rent and everything. You know, we started those sides of Kayole, okay? Just to pay rent. We were living in, the school was in Kayole, we were in Komarok. We said, you need 50,000, yes. How many students do you have? He was a mega teacher. He told me I have 180 students, each of them paying 5,000. Calculator, I didn't even need a calculator, I was smiling. So I doing I was a very wrong investor. Today I'm sharper. I should have asked for any statements. I didn't ask for any. And I'm sure there's some people here who have been conned money. And you say, you know, I was conned. You are not conned. You are just not a sharp investor. Isn't it true? And that is why today we are learning how to be sharp investors. Because to be an investor, even 500 shillings is an investment. Even my time and energy, that's an investment. Don't call me to organization to train and then you tell me, you know, you're adding value. No, it's an investment. So what am I saying? I invested in a shop, in a business that had already closed. And with that little money, we started from zero. Today, the school is funded by organizations and we make sure. It grew because we believed in it, when there were 3 children. And the way we would speak about the school, I went to pitch somewhere. And when I went to pitch, I told them, by the way, this is the way the school is. We don't have money. But our students are good. I was an English teacher. They speak good English. Children from the slums. We want to give them a future. We cannot afford without you. Next time you say Nimechapa guitar, it's because of the student you ignore today. Because they have 2 options. We educate the mothers at Akujapa guitar. When we talk about crime, it will be because of the student you will find today. My friends, the school was taken up. What am I saying? We believed in them even when there were very few. Today, most of them are names I won't mention here. But because from the students in Kayole Mukurukwa Jaganako Yakoki, at a certain time, there is a class that we took 18 to the university out of 30, out of 28. The other 2 had come to do exams. Why? Because we believe in our brand. Do you believe in your own brand? I want to ask you, do you believe enough in your organizational brand? Do you believe in the brand of the company that you can go up for it? I know I'm being told my time, I'm about to be told about time. Right, because yes, I want to take a bit of time and discuss about how to bring investors. No, where are the investors from? Now, these actually will take very short. I want to talk about presentation. Where do we get investors from? Investors all over. Do you know there are people with money who don't know how to take the money? The only thing is just to know how to get the money from their pockets. And the only thing they need is your preparation. You can get investors who are in your related field. If you want to plant strawberries, don't look for an investor who is doing construction. Do a bit of study and research on who is the person that I should refer to. Who should I refer to? It should be very well analyzed in your mind. That this is the kind of a person. This is a delegation coming from China, coming from Korea. Don't just look everywhere. I have nothing to do. I can get an investor to bring in clothes. And meanwhile, when you sit, there's one mistake I made. Very big mistake. Years back. You know, now I'm clocking 50 next year, so. And I say years back, I've lived to make a few mistakes and perhaps to see a bit of success. And this time a friend of mine came and told me, you know what? One of the embassies, top embassies, is looking for people who are doing soya. And they want to take them out of the country to that country. And she was working there. So I thought, in this wilderness I can fly out of the country. I didn't prepare for soya. I didn't know how long soya takes to grow. I didn't even know where the market is. I didn't even know how to plant, but I went. And I sat there with all the prayer, God, this is a door you have opened for me. Which one? God does not deal with foolishness. And I waited. And I donned an African dress because I knew they'll be impressed. But you know what? Nobody wants to invest in foolishness. And that's what I took to that office. Looking back, I'm glad they can't recognize my face. I'm so glad, because I made foolishness. So I was asked about soya. And you know what? I told him, well, you're talking of soya. He said, yes. He was very forthright. He said, yes. I said, I also like taking soya products. Some things I did to cover my eyes. And so he told me, he asked me a very outright question, what would you want to invest in? And we have prayed and fasted for those who are religious so that God could open a door, okay? Yeah, you just consult your God, you know, when you are in the wilderness, you need an open door. So, I said, me, I get bored of soya. Listen, I want to live with animals, goats. The man asked me which goats. my mom's place. And so he listened to me now, download all my stupidity. And after I was through downloading all my stupidity, because that's exactly what I did. He asked me, how many goats do you have? I said, none. But when I come to that country, I'll be a big goat farmer. And so after we were done, I asked him, so when is the interview for the visa? He told me, Jane, we'll contact you. And with that, I walked out expecting goats. You get what I'm saying? And then I'm going out of the country to a country that starts with A. You know what? So I called my friend. My friend, Jenny, what happened? I asked why. What did you discuss? Because she was following up. I said, goats. You know, she took like about 2 months before picking my calls. So I knew without being asked. I had missed it. You get what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Anytime you go to pitch for business, because opportunities are passing by us. Opportunities are passing by us every day. Don't be cheated. There's always an opportunity, but it is us who lack preparation. Can you imagine now I'll be exporting and importing some products? I'll be a merchant, but thank God. So it takes us to understand what you're discussing. And if you're going to download foolishness, keep quiet. Ask for another opportunity. Don't make the mistake I did. Because by the end of the day, I don't think that man had any other thing to think about other than me. I'm sure he must have wondered, how did I go past the gates to his office? You know what I'm saying? So let us not lose opportunity. Now, yes, so I was talking about investors. They come from everywhere. Now that was my friend connecting me. There's something I talk about, the law of positioning. The law of positioning. Now, if you want to get somebody to invest in your company 5 to 10 million, you've got to start positioning yourself. $1 million, let me add that, because now 5 million you can raise or not. If you want somebody to invest in you, actually $2 million, you need to position yourself. You don't position yourself for a grant of 2 million, for support of, I don't use the wrong terms. You know, I'm here with people of that area. They say, I do not want, you do not expect somebody who is going to fund you $2 million to look for you in Bahati Estate. Are we together? You know, you need to be realistic. You begin to position yourself. You have an opportunity to fly out. Don't go to that class. They're not in that class. Pay some extra money. Go to the first class. Peradventure, the person you're sitting next to, if your next breakthrough. Now, if you sit next to me in the economy, we'll be discussing about the economy. Are we together? If you sit in the first class, you've got to start positioning yourself. If you may be told this is above your size, there is nothing above your size. You're as big as your mind tells you you are. Not as big as your pocket says. So at times you've got to do a few sacrifices so that you can position yourself places you can get somebody. Go to a golf club. Join a golf club. Those are places to get investors. If you join a golf club, you'll meet people who talk the same talk. Yes, once in a while, go wherever you go for nyama choma, but at least go have that moment to go to the golf club. And when you're playing golf and he's asking, what do you do? Remember the elevator pitch? 60 seconds, you can be able to get an appointment. You've got to start positioning yourself. The other one, you may hear of investors meeting. When you hear there are investors coming to the country, position yourself. they're having coffee in Hilton, just pay for the coffee. Sit there with them and look serious. Don't look amazed. Walk and look like them, you know? I'm telling you what, when I was especially hooking ties, because I had one brown catsuit that had been affected by the sun, I used to walk like there is no other marketer in this life except Moa. And I sold my ties, and buy them at 100, sell at 1,000. Good business, try and calculate that profit. But again, I used to position. I didn't sell them for too long, they sustained though. What am I saying? Get yourself to a place where you know, this is the kind of a person who can help me. Get people who have organized, like for example, I think Wednesday, we have organized a meeting for business people, and we've got Busy Adonai, and we've got people coming from Brazil. When my husband went there the other time, he was telling me, you know, they are multi-millionaires. I said, how many businesses did you pitch? He told me, nah, you go and pitch. You know, we are different. You get what I'm saying? And I was thinking, I should have been the one going. Why? You've got to be ready and prepared. He told me, no, I should have been very ready. But it's okay. So he has invited them, and they are coming as a whole team. When you get such opportunities, the other investor is the bank. Talk to your bank. Talk to your bank. Talk to the community tycoon, because some businesses don't need to go far. There's a community tycoon who can give somebody money for cows, and you start your business with cows. You can do it through emails, you can send invitations, or you can even go out and look for an investor when you're ready and have breakfast with them. And remember, for that breakfast, you don't expect them to pay. It is you going to pay. My time is not much. I want to talk about the presentation. Assume now all that is done. How do I need to look so that you can have confidence in me? Number one, I talk about presentation. We have already talked that you already have the content, you have the knowledge, you have everything. Revise what you know the day before. Revise what you know the day before and update your information. Update it. It could be that there are two competitors, not there could be four. And with it, understand what advantage do I have over and above my other competitors. What advantage do I have? What more can I add? What value have I added to my brand? Update it. It gives you confidence. Confidence is the inner ability that is the most attractive trend in getting an investor. Do you know what? People will tell when you're confident with your brand. Everybody wants to sow their money where there is confidence. You cannot put money in somebody's. You're asking, do you think it's going to work? And hear that presenter says, yeah, it will work. I took a person to see one of the very senior people, senior person in the country, in the Ministry of Education, and this person had done very good books. Very good books on HIV and AIDS, those earlier days. I think it was in 1999. And so we had really worked for this because we wanted to start applying them to the schools. And so when I took my friend, we sat on these big seats. I think I should have prepared him. I was editing the book he was writing. So I should have prepared him about the office. And when he saw the office, he asked me, I keep informed. You know, you shouldn't be seeing an investor. And so what happened? When he was asked, I introduced him. He was supposed to talk. His panic caused his voice box to constrict. And he couldn't talk. And I kept wondering what's happening with this gentleman. He couldn't talk. The very person who he was pitching to brought him some water. And suddenly he had a very shrill voice. No! I asked myself what has happened to this gentleman. Panic! You get what I'm saying? Hapo, I I knew we have lost it. And you see, having been there, every time I was going to get rich. Now we lost it to today. No! I knew, my goodness. So you've got to be very confident. As a presenter, you've got to be very, very, very confident. When a person talks to you with confidence, even if what they're saying, you still need to make sense out of it, you believe them. Because confidence comes out of, as I said, marrying the brand, and number two, having the content. Another point for a presenter, and if you've got people who are doing for you marketing, this is something they need to learn. They've got to be enthusiastic, as I had said. When you come and sell a product looking bored, they'll lose you first minute. Another point, because I don't know I'm in number what? Have a very powerful closing, starting, and a very powerful closing. Always trying to have a very powerful opening. That when you open, my name is Chimacho. Oh, Kimani Kaneva. We don't know what's happening. When you say your name, get a catchy phrase that will catch everybody's attention. And close when they didn't expect you to. Having said what you needed to say. That one you've got to rehearse it. Another point, you've got to learn how to project your voice. Project your voice. Nobody wants to strain listening to you. And nobody wants somebody who is shouting at them. You know the kind of selling? It is so, oh my God, you can't miss it. Hello. We start trying to know what's happened to this one. What did they have for lunch? What was wrapped up in their lunch? You know what I'm saying? But have control of your voice. And don't be monotonous. God created us musical. So if you come and say, I'm selling this berry, and this berry is very good because it runs and it refills itself. When you have this berry, it is not affected by the weather and the berry will always keep writing. You know, you'll be telling them, sleep, sleep, by the time you're done. So you've got to alternate your voice. And I want to tell you what, if in Hollywood, actors go for voice training, so that when they speak something, it catches attention. If you're going to pitch, you've got to train and rehearse. Okay? Work also on severe, 5 minutes. Work on severe mother tongue interference. We are not going to become Wazungu, but if you come and say, now, we really need this bread. Or, another thing, don't wear a fake accent. When I made this brand, you know, when you get this, and then after you're done, when you're having tea, you're talking, yes, the brand is very okay. People want to invest in people who are authentic. Are we together? Now, I want to say again, keep focus on the audience. This one I can talk until the cows come home because it was much. Keep focus on the audience. And if you're too shy to look into their eyes, look at their forehead. They'll believe you're looking at their eyes. In fact, they start shying. Yeah, you just keep focus on their foreheads. You know, nobody can tell a difference between the eyes and the forehead. Yeah, so keep the focus. It keeps the attention going. Another thing I want to say, don't make funny jokes. Don't go there to joke. Because your joke may sound stale. Alright? Ladies, when you go to pitch for business, and there's a whole organization and I'm there, don't try that macromini. The idea may be perfect, and themselves may want to work with you, but the wife will bring a problem. So you may lose it because he's reasoning, if I take this one, and she'll be dressing like this, my wife will be a problem. You get what I'm saying? Don't overdress and don't underdress. You may send that young gentleman who got into your office with a lot of enthusiasm and energy, and suddenly you tell him he's going to market, but he has this suit that he wore during his friend's wedding. And you know the coats they're wearing nowadays, you wonder how they got into them. They're so tight, I think it's a fashion, they call it swag, yeah? And the trousers are 3/4 like they're crossing a river. And then they wear very bright colored socks. That is the swag. Now you come to pitch next to my old dad or that age mate, this age group, they think he's a very responsible dresser. So they need to be trained on appearance. We are told different percentages of appearance, but yes, they really work. I don't know number what. I don't know, it's based on my time. Don't answer questions that you have not been asked. And when they query you too much, don't show a temper. Because at times they really query you, don't show a temper. I said that before. And don't use too much paralinguistic gestures. Yes, it is true. Put your hands together. Okay? Don't use too, because gestures will derail the focus. People will start following your hands and then wonder exactly what had they said while they were still talking. Another thing I want to say, and this is wisdom for living. Do enough investigation to know what is the color logo of this organization or this person. This very easy way of getting to know. When you see the color, connect to the color. It could be that their color is red, just get a red tie. Or it's blue, get something blue. Even if it's a small kerchief by your pocket, where there will instantly be a connection. You like what I like. If you're to be called for tea, do not start conversations that are antagonistic. Don't start talking about politics and what was decided. Leave that to the politicians. Get to understand, what does this man like? That's why I say do a research of the investor. If he likes music, know something small about music. And again, don't make a fool out of yourself, eh? Don't start talking about the harmonica and perhaps he's referring to something because he thought you knew too much. Keep your conversation very, very, very little. My time is gone, but I want to say the most important is that executive presence. That you stand at a place and you command people to listen. Why? Because you're all together. Finally, this is the last one. Very finally, again I said I can continue for long. When you're pursuing an investment, make your eye single. Make your eye very single. Don't say, I want to invest in construction and I also want to invest in lands. Why? Because a Russian proverb said, a man who chases 2 rabbits ends up with none. Thank you.